Boo!
Why? Why?
No. I might just catch that again.
It's fucking retarded. Warning, this podcast may contain retarded noises and swear words like the ones you've just heard, and content and language that some listeners may already have found offensive.
They would have tuned out if they found it offensive.
They wouldn't tune out that fucking noise. What?
I'd be interested to see what equalisation you're going to have to do on that shit, because that was loud.
Much like your underpants.
Loud?
They just
Brown.
scream, don't come near my genitals.
How would you know?
I can hear them from here. They won't shut up.
Don't come near my genitals.
You did a pants impression.
I did.
Are you happy with that?
No.
Welcome to the Seesaw Podcast with T and Cleaves.
Each week, offering up a delayed perspective on life. Welcome.
We can all do the noise.
You fucking prick. Welcome to a brand new episode of Seesaw.
If you're just tuning in, it's not normally like this.
It's not normally like this.
Well,
it's
to an
usually
extent,
worse.
It's normally slightly better than this.
Yes, normally slightly. If you're wondering where the back catalogue has gone, we're slowly destroying it as we go.
Yeah, we started at episode 6. That's where the fun stuff really gets up in your teeth.
I like to think that we're running this on like episode fuel, and the further we go, we have to take older episodes and throw them on the fire.
I like episode fuel as a drink. That's what I call 19 crimes.
I mean, 19 crimes is called 19 crimes. If you're going to make a cocktail called episode fuel, what would you call it?
I'd call it episode fuel.
And what would be in it? 19 crimes.
19 crimes, yeah, just 19 crimes.
This episode brought to you by 19 Crimes. Because you don't want to pay a lot for wine.
19 crimes is an average price for a bottle of wine, and it's...
Yeah, average council estate price.
Based on that, it's about the same price as this bottle of wine as it is for your mum's services. Approximately £7.50, anything goes.
I'm not going to deny that, but my mum's rates will go up in April.
Well, she's offering a discount at the minute, so everything's going back to regular price. RRP, £8.
Just check the terms and conditions, you'll be okay.
£8 a pound.
Yeah, sorry, Mum.
Again.
I'm
I feel
sorry.
like you're apologising every episode recently.
That's unlike me, normally. How are things, Cleaves?
Things are okay. Things are starting to pick up throughout the year and my life. You know what I mean? Things are on an upward trajectory.
Yeah.
That's a good word. How are things with you?
Yeah, not too bad.
Anything you would like to add to that? Maybe you would like to elaborate on the not badness?
Yes. I have been matched with a new guide dog named Ted.
Bundy?
No.
Oh, that'd be great. Can we call him Ted Bundy?
Please don't call him Ted Bundy.
I was pitching way worse. I pitched Lord Teddington III when you told me the first time.
I prefer that.
What about Super Ted?
That's also acceptable.
Super Ted Bundy, the third, with honours.
I'm never going to stop you saying that, so do what you will.
I'm just going to stop calling him Bundy. And if he starts responding to it...
Oh, I'm going to be upset. I'm going to get upset. But be prepared for more pup dates, as guide dogs would call them, going forwards. Also, consider my previous dog is still with us, and his name is Wes. There's been a lot of pressure to have an Instagram of Wes and Ted's excellent adventures.
Excellent!
Now, considering that I don't do anything really with our current Instagram account, for Seesaw, we'll wait and see how this goes.
I did tell Wes he was being replaced the other day.
Yeah, he hates you anyways.
He had no idea. He loves me.
No, he
I don't
doesn't.
know why.
He loves your carrots.
Come home from work, give him a carrot, then he just fucks off.
Yeah, and that's pretty much my update. But yeah, should be awesome. And then you can see on our Twitter.
What
Seesaw
type of
Pod.
dog is Ted? Child
Ted.
killer or other?
Ted is a Labrador Retriever, caramel coloured, 2 years old.
Also for our American listeners, caramel coloured.
The thing is, I'm going to bust your chops there, but we actually have more American listeners now than we do have in the UK.
Thanks, this is what Bland looks like.
And we also have Finnish listeners as well. For some reason.
Yeah, most of them finish after the first 3 seconds.
Especially on that fucking opening. So, Cleaves, I have got one question for you.
How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
No. We all know the answer. It's 17.
Oh, I was going to say 7. All right, fine.
Do you have any quick news?
Quick blind news! I actually do. World record litter of blind puppies were given birth to. 16 by a German Shepherd.
Were they all blind?
It's Guide Dog. Guide Dog gave them...
Oh, God, it's quick news. Come on.
Oh, I see how it's gone. Well, you asked the question. I already gave the quick news.
You said
then you asked more questions about
it.
it.
You said blind dog news. That's either guide dogs or they're all fucking blind.
Your mum's a blind dog. All right, that was too far. I apologise.
Oh, fucking hell.
I do apologise. That was too much. Yeah, that boy was too much. Okay, right, what's your quick blind news?
New law says that carers and cleaners for the disabled in the UK now need to have a licence, which disabled people have to pay for 50 quid.
That was quick. And that was quick blind news.
Yes. There we go. See, this time we flipped the script, as the kids would say.
Do kids say that?
Maybe in the 80s. One kid at some point has said that.
I'm not a big fan of goats generally. I feel like this is the episode of terrible puns.
Yeah, we've got to brush up on
And
the
terrible
fundamentals, haven't we?
Speaking of terrible puns, icons.
Icons! Yes, no theme song for this one.
Until I put one in.
Welcome to Icons, where T and Cleaves seesaw their way through various eye conditions.
Each episode defining, analysing, kinda, and helping you cope with the icons that are fucking up your life.
So, if you've not heard icons before, we are going to be taking 3, maybe 4 conditions, we'll see how we go, which are just various eye conditions, aren't they? Just various eye conditions. We give the rundown on them, what they are, how they affect you, what the cures are, that sort of bollocks. And that's basically the show. I mean, it doesn't sound interesting, but if you've listened to Seesaw before, we're amazing. Open your fucking ears and listen to what Cleaves has to say next.
Eye condition numero eins.
Number 1! That's what we did last time.
Did we?
Yeah, we did the darts thing.
In one of them.
Yeah.
Alright. Bully's favourite, ocular albinism.
But what is ocular albinism?
Well, there's a bunch of different types. The most common, nettleship falls.
Sounds fucking awesome, like Watership Down.
AKA type 1.
Type.
Less fun. As the name may suggest, it is pretty much a whitey disease. You don't just have to get it if you're full snowman. You can just get albinism, like ocular albinism of the eyes. It's often genetic, so be thanking your parents for that shit. It basically affects the colouring of your iris, and it also affects the retina, and it basically screws with your vision in terms of its acuity. We wrote this word down because I thought it was a nice, sexy word.
So it's like sharpens, doesn't it? Like it sharpens your your acuity and makes your vision like super sharp, which...
No, it fucks with the sharpness. Like it unsharpens it.
Ah, so fuzzes.
Yeah, blurs, I guess.
Gives the fuzziness.
Here's the thing, right? You know, if you've got a TV and you can adjust the sharpness on it, can you adjust it to your eyes?
That's a very interesting point.
And the brightness. I mean, to be fair, we've got an LG and we always have it on vivid. Because the regular standard modes, it's like, this is a bit dark for people like myself.
Yeah. We noticed that though, that like, sometimes we were watching something, it's like, this is fucking dark. It's like, oh, it's not on vivid. It's on some weird eco mode.
And I wonder, just, you know, because we have it on vivid all the time, I just wonder whether people fully sighted are looking at it and going, Jesus, fuck, that's bright. And they're like literally shielding their eyes.
My eyes!
Yeah.
Maybe so. Maybe you can tune TVs to it. I don't think TVs are going to be that incremental in their settings that you can make them perfect for you, but I have no doubt that If you have something like ocular albinism, which you can have, you're very photosensitive, I imagine you can lower the brightness.
You can get that eco mode. If anything, you're saving money. Oh, that's a good point. Get your parents to get ocular albinism. Then, when you get it, you can save money on TVs by putting them always in eco mode. And you'll save money across the fucking board, won't you? Because you won't have to put any of the lights on because of the photosensitivity. You can wander around in the dark. Oh my god. Why the fuck have I not got that? I got the opposite. I have to put the lights on.
So what you're saying...
My eyesight's costing me money.
What you're saying is...
I'm going to go... Do you know what? I'm going to bill my mother for this.
Cripple your eyes and you might save $5,000 over your lifetime.
Sweet saving though, isn't it? Sweet saving, bro.
I'd rather have better sight.
To be fair though, you're not actually saving, are you? Because in a lot of cases, you also have albino like skin pigment. So the money you're saving in lighting, you're also shelling out for suntan lotion.
That's very true. And we know a few, like we mentioned in a previous episode about Al, the snowman. He incinerated the amount of lotion he used to use.
Quickly.
And that's an unfortunate effect of having no pigment in your skin. I mean, he played it off really well. He didn't let it affect him, but like light was his enemy. Or you.
Going back to albinism, the also affects the depth perception. So just when you think that car is really far away, turns out it's already hitting you in the groin. Specifically, like the corner of the car.
Yeah. It's one of those old fucking cars as well. Like, there's no rounded edges or anything like that where everything was a box.
Hood ornament as well. You're literally getting sprayed over the windscreen.
Yeah. You got the 3-pointed star right in the balls.
And the really annoying part was you thought it was quite far away. And it was a Prius as well, so you couldn't even hear it coming.
Yes. So it generally doesn't get worse over your life. Once you've got it, it's generally what it is.
That's a bonus.
I mean, it can come with other things, but generally, if you're just going to have that, it will be stable. It'd be something you have to deal with your entire life. There's no cure.
You can get like ocular albinism without being like a proper whitey, but it often does come with the no pigment all over.
That's it. And like we said, like it's not going to get worse. So what you have is what you've got. But although, like, if you're more photosensitive, you've got to be careful with your eyes because you can cause other issues because of that.
Get a sweet pair of Ray-Bans.
Interestingly, we knew someone at college who had albinism, and she was of African descent, and she had like the whole sort of like no pigment sort of throughout her entire person, which meant although she had like the characteristics of someone from Nigeria, she was very like any other albino person. I mean, I don't know how she felt about it. I mean, I chat to her quite a lot. But at the same time, it was a bit of a mind fuzz because, like, it's crazy how pigment, again, doesn't affect whether you're black or Asian or white. If the pigment isn't there, like, you're just pink. And it's a bit mad because of, like, especially when there are other albinos around. And then you sort of like...
It's a really hardcore way to shed your race.
I mean, yeah. I mean, by all sort of like external beliefs, you would think that this girl was white, but that was purely because of albinism, because all of her family were black. Yeah. And it was purely because of albinism that you would say that she was white, but that was not the case, and that's not how she identified. And that's just something that it does happen, and I think that's just one instance where it's a bit of how it flips things for an individual.
Yeah, I think in your mind, or at least in my mind, perhaps racistly, you think of people with albinism as being more white people. Yeah. Like a whiter version of a white person, whereas that's just not the case. It can happen to anyone.
And it's great leveler on race, I suppose.
Yeah, it kind of is, yeah.
Because if you have full albinism where it affects all pigments, it would just bring everyone, like, if everyone's albino, everyone would look the same. Pretty much, as far as like we're talking like coloration, it affects the hair, the eyes, the skin tone. Like it's very sort of. It doesn't take any prisoners in that regard, does it? It's very much it when you take the pigment out, and then we're digressing. We're getting into race.
It fucks with your eyes.
Yeah. But you know what else fucks with your eyes?
Into
Nystagmus or Nystagmoose.
If you've got multiple Nystagmus, is that Nystagmi?
Or Nystagmuses. So this is a condition I actually have, and I don't really know much about it. So this is an education for T as well as ye. So, Cleaves, what is Nystagmoose?
It's a moose based in Canada. His best friend is Bullwinkle. His original name was Rocky, but after a series of sexual allegations, he has now had to change it to Nystag.
So, Nystagmus is a wobbly eye disease. It affects both eyes.
It doesn't have to. It can affect one.
Is that true?
Yeah, one or the other, but usually both. Does it affect both of yours?
Yes, it does.
Even though you don't have a working one?
It still affects it. So the way Nystagmus works is it's genetic, kind of. It's a bit out in the water about what causes it.
Usually it's a symptom of other shit, isn't it?
It comes with other shit. It's essentially like there's muscles in the eye that don't really form, as well as brain as well. It's when parts of the eye and the brain don't develop properly, and they just get a little bit twitchy.
So Nystagmus, there is 2 types. Pendulum, pendular, and jerk, which is the one T would have if he has Nystagmus, which he does. Pendular, your eyes basically swing like a pendulum.
Pitting the
like
pendulum.
A clock. And
should have known the
jerk.
grave could never sustain him.
Was Pit Pendulum Vincent Price?
Yeah, it was.
I'm learning. I'm learning as we go, not just about icons.
I mean, that's an icon of horror. Carry on about jerk.
And jerk, much like the chicken, your eye starts to drift to one side, and then it's almost as if it realises and go, huh, and then has to flick back to its original position. It's basically like wandering attention eye. It's ADD eyes is what it is.
Ad eyes.
It's like a kid's gone off in class and he started drawing and doodling to himself, and the teacher's gone, oi!
Yeah. You know what it's like? You know when you're like falling asleep, when you're like watching like a video in bed, like on YouTube or whatever. You know when you like your head starts to lull down and then you snap back up. It's like, whoa, fuck.
Yeah.
Like that, because like you just realise the last second.
I do that when you talk.
You fucking prick. So I don't know which version I have. I've never been told. Mine are just twitchy as fuck. So I don't know. I must have one of those, but I've never been told otherwise. But what one is which? So it does affect the brain.
Yeah, it usually comes from that.
Comes from the brain, the back of the eyes. Like it's where there's no development in muscles or something like that, and then they just sort of twitch and don't really know what to do. It's a bit of a weird condition. It usually comes with other things. But it doesn't have to come with other things.
It usually comes as part of like a brain disease or something. No, actually, it's not like it comes from like hearing impediments and things like that a lot of the time. Stuff that like fucks with your balance, maybe vertigo and shit like that. Yeah. But also, that's often down to the brainness of it.
That's it. Like, I don't really have problems with balance and vertigo and shit like that. But mine, I was told, sort of came as a booby prize for my other condition because I have a form of retinal dystrophy as well as nystagmus. It just sort of came along for the ride.
See icons 1.
So, this is characterised by blurry vision. So, seeing things move when they're not actually moving because your eyes are moving and sort of like make it blurry. You know that shit when someone waves their hand, like wave your hand really fast in front of your face with like your fingers apart.
Even though they're not moving?
No, but pretend it's not moving. Like pretend you're looking at your hand and it's staying still, and then wave it so it's like kind of blurry.
I know, but what I'm saying is, you look at your hand and that hand's not moving, but it looks to you like it's waving a little bit.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
Ah.
So it's like it's waving and you've got that little blur from that. That's what nystagmus does, because your eyes are moving, but they'd be moving at different speeds depending on the person. So some people's eyes go fucking ape shit. I know mine, they depend. Depends on the time of day. I can have really bad days where I can't read anything, and then other days I'm absolutely fine. So it really depends. But can it get worse with time, Cleaves?
I have no idea.
The answer is no.
Okay.
So it can't get worse with time. There are some things that you can do about it, but they're kind of debated. So one of them is medication, particularly anti-epilepsy medication.
Yeah, like anti-seizure shit.
Yeah. There's no proof that this does anything. Some people swear by it, others...
Yeah, they say like that and muscle relaxants, which kind of in theory, like when you say it, kind of makes sense. If it's like your wobbly eye muscles at the back, then that does make sense. But whether it works in practice is, I guess, up for debate.
You can also have surgery as well, but the surgery again is up in the air whether it actually does much to improve vision or just treat the symptom of the eyes moving, because it's a bit of a weird one. Surgery can help, it might not help. I've only recently found out about surgery and the medication, and this is something I will be bringing to my doctor when I go to the hospital next time.
See, what I've read is that a lot of the time the surgery is for the existing condition, which then helps the nystagmus.
Well, if that's the case, there's nothing that can be done for mine, because it's a different condition than they've already flat out said.
Sorry, pal.
Yeah, basically. But no, nothing. We can't do nothing with that. And that's nystagmus. And as always, there's a lot more to all these conditions.
If you would like to find more about nystagmus or ocular albinism or any of the conditions in today's episode, Google it.
So, in 3...
Macular degeneration. Well, often. We're doing age-related macular degeneration. So
AMD.
This one's for the fogies.
What?
If you're old, turn up your dial.
So how many types of AMD are there?
2, as far as I'm aware. Dry and sopping wet.
So 2 variants of pasta.
It depends how you cook it, innit?
So, what is the issue with dry
Also,
AMD?
I'm glad you said pasta and not something else. What is the issue with dry? Oh, or do you mean how it happened?
How's it happen? Hit me with that knowledge.
So, age-related macular degeneration, or AMD, or AMD for short. The dry one is caused by your macular cells thinning out and breaking down. It's the joys of getting old, essentially. There ain't no cure, and it's the most common form.
Okay. Well, I will let you know what the wet version is, and this one is fucking gross. So if you're eating, carry on eating, 'cause I want to hear if you spew.
The wet one is much like the dry version of macular degeneration, but when you're more excited.
So, the wet version is when abnormal blood vessels are formed in the back of the eyes. These can then break and leak various goos, including eye fluid and blood, into the back of the eye.
In the end, yeah, it's pretty grim into like the macula.
Yep.
Yeah.
And these fluids block retinal cells, which affect your vision. So basically, you're being blinded by goo and blood on the back of your eyes.
That's pretty grim.
Do you want to know what's even grimmer?
The cure.
The cure of that is to have injections in the eyes.
I assume, and I don't know this, but that's to like suck out the goo.
I wouldn't say suck out the goo. I don't think they'll suck out anything. I think it's more of adding something to dissolve the goo.
Right.
I imagine it would be more of a solution to react with like the blood.
Like
and
eye
fluid.
blood thinners.
Yeah, and then like you'll just like, they'll be like, oh, you have to have weepy eyes for a week. And it'll just like come out of your eyes.
Just watched a really sad movie.
I mean, that's tear ducts, so that's not going to work. That's somewhat different.
Don't tell me where to weep from. All right, it's my eyes, my choice.
I weep from my penis, and that's it.
Jesus. But what does AMD do to you?
AMD really affects the central vision. So usually straight lines are perceived as wavy. So like either the Mexican wave or
Drunk vision.
Basically drunk vision. Makes it all wavy, all crazy. Also, objects can be smaller than they might appear. So that's what Cleaves is blaming all the girlfriends he's ever had.
Oh, man.
You just
all had macular
you just have
degeneration,
AMD.
right?
You just have
Yeah.
AMD. It's massive, I swear.
It's a great excuse. I convinced at least 6 to go to hospital and get it checked out. Unfortunately, the other 6 have convinced me to go to hospital and get me checked out.
It doesn't affect the appearance of the eyes. You can also see things that aren't there. So the brain will just make shit up sometimes.
It's quite rare, that one, but it must be bad if that is the case. Colour's less bright as well.
So dims you out, which,
You'll need the vivid setting on your LG.
Yeah, you definitely will. And this usually comes of age.
Well,
so,
it's literally called age
yeah, it does.
related.
There are various things out there that says, how you can help and stuff like that with like eye focusing exercises and stuff like that. And they kind of help, but generally speaking, you just sort of got to make do with it, like save your sight where you can.
Yeah, the dry like desert one, you can't really help. The wet one, just take the injections. I mean, they sound awful.
Yeah, they do. But the dry version, you can do things around it to try and help as well. So generally, prescriptions can help, having good lighting. There's things to help you along the way. It's not going to get better. And it will.
There's more coping mechanisms, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. It's just dealing with it. But luckily, because it comes later in life and at age, you've usually had a good life of seeing things.
I know what you're saying. Live fast, die young.
Basically, yeah. It's like us poor fucks who have been like devastated from the beginning.
All right. So for today, that's it. We've done 3. We did like 5 last time, but this time we're doing 3 because we know
a lot more detail.
We did some research this time, which is rare for us. Real rare.
Yep. That's not what we're about. Like, we did our research, but the point of what we do is we did a research that you would do if you weren't too fucking lazy to do it.
We did minimal research whilst drinking and then bring this to you and then you come back and tell us either 1, we're wrong, or 2, actually this also happens. So please tell us about this stuff.
We want to know this so that we can not spotlight it in the future, feel bad temporarily, and then be like, let's have a drink.
Well, that is Seesaw pretty much in a nutshell.
But I don't mind that. I want people to come to us and be like, you're full of shit.
If we're wrong, let us know. We'll be sure to maybe take your reviews into account.
Yeah, 100%. And I think we're getting more professional as time goes.
Anyway, T, before you go, do you want to tell the listeners about your exciting competition that you're going to run? Competition time, competition time, competition time with Seesaw Podcast.
Please use that.
Can't you spoke over the middle part? What a jerk. Right, hit me with that sweet competition.
Okay, so if you heard the last episode of Seesaw, you would have heard a guest. But before that, you would have had an episode of Tales from the Crypts. Submit to us your blind story, fail, scrape, or whatever you want to have. We will anonymise you. And the one that makes us laugh the most will win a prize.
What kind of prize?
That's a surprise.
Sexy blowjob prize. Well, there's women out there as well, and other genders, so...
You can have a blowjob as a woman.
Cunnilingus is on offer.
Yeah. Also a tangible...
You said yes like it was... You were like, yeah, sure it is. Like you were willing to offer that out. Okay.
A tangible prize will be available. So, go to r/Seesaw Podcast and go to this episode, which will be episode 61. And in that Reddit, you can drop...
Like it's hot.
...your Tales on the Crypt. And once we've read through them, in a few weeks, when we remember, we will announce a winner and you'll get a delicious prize.
Also, if it's good, you can come on the pod and talk to it about it. We'll let the viewers decide.
We'll get the listeners to decide.
Whatever.
You're a fucking fool.
You're a fucking dick. Alright, we're done here now, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Till next week.
Party on, Wayne.
Check us out on Reddit.
Thanks for listening to the Seesaw Podcast.
You can find us on Facebook at Seesaw Podcast, Twitter, Seesaw Pod. You can email us at seesawpodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on TikTok and Instagram at Seesaw Podcast or Seesaw Pod, depending on which one we want. But get us on the other places. This podcast was recorded in front of a blind audience.